Are those glasses new, Julia?
I have like 15 different pairs of cheater glasses. It's getting to that point where I have to just like
Really?
splatter them around
I
the house.
just got what are they called? Progressives, but they make me dizzy.
Oh, really? I heard it takes a while to get used to those.
I am so trying, but
Oh, I don't know. I've been thinking I need to go that route, right? Because I'm constantly going between looking at my phone and then looking up at something, right? So I'm like, well, maybe that'll help.
I actually think I'm going to go back because I talked to the doctor.
Thank you.
Get bifolds just straight out, so I
Yeah.
know where that line is.
Right? All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to call to order the Town of Paxton Select Board meeting. Today is Monday, June 10th, 2024. It is now 7:04 p.m. We are at the training room in the Public Safety Complex. So first, we have a public hearing, and it's a public hearing on an application to transfer a wine and malt club license from Laynick Porch LLC, DBA Paxton Sports Center Incorporated, to Seven Saws Brewing LLC, Paul Mulroy as the manager. The license type is also being transferred from club to tavern, and license category is changing from wine and malt to all alcohol. Said license located at 603 Pleasant Street in Paxton, Mass. 01612. I'll indicate that the public hearing was appropriately advertised in the newspaper, and abutters were also appropriately notified, so this begins our public hearing. So Paul and Troy, why don't you come on up to the podium? I'll have you introduce yourselves, and then tell us what is happening over there at Seven Saws and Soccer Asylum.
Thank you.
Just make sure your microphone up there is green.
Yep, so my name's Paul Mulroy, one of the owners of Seven Saws Brewing.
Hi, Troy Milliken, partner, Seven Saws Brewing with Paul. You want me to give a quick rundown? Well, thanks for having us here today. Good to see you, everybody. Thank you, Select Board. I think as many of you know, we are looking to open up at the upper lounge inside the new Soccer Asylum facility. The idea is to have a multi-use facility in there within the Soccer Asylum where they can have gym memberships, indoor soccer, upstairs lounge open to the general public. Our focus is to allow people that are coming for tournaments and also have general public be able to come in, use the facility, and enjoy the lounge. We are planning to operate it similar to our brewery in Holden, if you've ever been there. It is family friendly, all inclusive. We look to create an atmosphere of being able to spend time together. We serve our own product there that we produce up in Holden, and then we'll bring it down to the facility in the Soccer Asylum. Indoor only. It's an enclosed facility. The license that we're looking to transfer is only in the upstairs lounge, and it's contained within that area only, so no outside alcohol or music. And then we are looking to transfer from the club license to the tavern license, which allows us to be able to open to the general public and invite the community in. We're also looking to switch from the malt beverage license to the all alcohol license, mainly same thing that we did in Holden at our industrial park brewery. We like to host private events, and with private events, there's usually requests for some specialty cocktails, that sort of thing. We're not going to open a full bar there, just like in industrial park. It's going to be focused on our product, Seven Saws Brewing. It's really just an alternative just to be able to support those private events when they have specific requests for non-beer related product. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Hours of operation, we went through a lot of this with the zoning board meeting. Hours of operation will be within the Soccer Asylum hours, typically a 9 o'clock close, unless there's a specific private event that requires a slightly extended time frame. And I think that covers, did I miss anything? Yeah, we've been working with the building inspector, the fire chief, and the local town boards to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. And it sounds like I think we've covered most of our basis along those fronts. But again, we can answer any questions that anybody may have.
Okay.
Anything that I didn't address you would like me to?
Any questions for Troy
Not yet.
or Paul? No questions here? Okay.
I don't think
so.
I have no questions. Anybody that would like to speak? Go ahead, Robin.
Hi.
Robin Casca, 33 Keep Out in Paxton.
Robin, just one second. Let me get you a mic. Hold on.
I'll just. Sorry. Thank you. Robin Tasca, 33 Keep Ave. It's exciting that you guys are coming in. Quick question. Do you have any plans to make it handicap accessible? As of right now, it is 2 tough flights of stairs for those that are mobility challenged.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you for the question. It is a non-conforming building, and we do not own the building. We are tenants in that facility. So the short answer to the question is not no to the near term. The investments in making it handicap accessible with a lift or whatever that may entail is not something that would be feasible in our business plan, since we are really just renting the space to run our facility.
Okay.
So that would be more of a soccer asylum question, but we did talk to the building inspector, and it is, since it's a older non-conforming building and we're just transferring licensing, we are going to continue operating the lounge in the capacity it was operated before.
I understand that, but there are, the 1990 ADA laws require you being a open to the public facility to have handicap accessibility. So, and I understand that you don't own the building. I totally understand that you're a tenant and you're kind of stuck to what the owners are, but I just don't understand how the owners of the building can be having a tenant in there and violating a federal law that this local level in the state cannot trump. So I'm just very concerned about that, because there's a lot of people that are handicap accessible in Paxton, as you know, in the surrounding community, and if they want to go because it's open to the public and take advantage of, you know, the wonderful service and product, they can't get in there.
Heather, do you know if that was addressed by the building commissioner?
I think I would defer back to likely what Paul said, which is it's a pre-existing non-conforming. And also the fact, you know, I think to their point, they're just tenants. So I don't think they necessarily have the requirement for it. We can most certainly take a look to make sure we get back to Robin, anyone else who has that question, and make sure Paul and Troy have the answer as well.
Yeah.
I know, you know, frequently I spend time in Boston, and I know they have a lot of places that have no accessibility whatsoever.
Right.
So I know there are, you know, ways where businesses don't actually make those changes.
Most of those are historic though, and they're exempt. Like if you're over a certain age, the Sucker Asylum building is certainly not within that age parameter.
So again, I don't know. We can look
Okay.
into it
We can
for
certainly
sure.
ask the building commissioner to get a response back. So
Absolutely.
Make sure we're addressing it.
And it's not just for me. I mean, I'm asking because I haven't seen anything information about it, but it's a handicap accessibility issue. That's for the general public.
I have a question.
Go ahead,
So
Nick.
You wouldn't need a permit if it was strictly for private functions, right?
Well, we would need a license in our name. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, we're going for this isn't for a permit, this is for a permanent license that allows us to pour
Right.
malts, wines, and liquor.
Yeah, the
And
license
then-
was in the Lanick Porch was the name, but that was how they were operating in the tennis club. So that license already exists. We're just asking for a transfer of that license to Seven Saws Brewing
Yeah.
with the modification with the tavern classification.
So what I'm saying, trying to say is that if you did have that license, but you could not serve because it's not handicap accessible on the second floor, that you still could use that license for private parties.
Yeah, there are two different things, so the
The
license is.
license to start with. You need the
The
license to start
license
with.
comes first.
Right.
No, I know that, but I mean.
Even for private functions, they need a license.
No, you
But-
have the you get the license.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
You
I think I
get the
understand what you're
You
saying.
have the
Yeah.
license to serve private parties.
It sounds like what
Second
Nick
floor.
is saying is,
So the handicap accessibility is.
Still the same issue, because if somebody's going to a private function and they're disabled and they can't use stairs, they can't go to the function.
Yeah, well, that's true too, so, sorry.
But the intent is
No,
to
it's fine,
serve as while the soccer asylum is in business. That's the intent of the license.
yeah.
Do they
Yeah.
serve upstairs?
It's always been served upstairs.
Yeah.
It's always been a bar there.
For
It's
a
always
long
been
time,
yeah,
yeah.
for a long
Right.
time.
Yep.
Sports Centre had a license before. It's just a transfer to another
Yeah.
So
part.
just from a Seven Saws standpoint, we absolutely understand this and we sympathize with this, obviously. We are, like Troy said, this is a non-conforming use already. We're not making any changes, and so the law allows us to do this. Our Holden facility is fully handicapped accessible because we built it from scratch and,
Yep.
and we followed all the correct rules and laws of the state and everything. So, so that's a place that absolutely can be visited. And we understand your question, we understand your concern about this, but we are, obviously following the guidelines that have been set.
Oh, I
forth by a
understand
non-
that
yeah.
completely, and I completely sympathize. I just don't understand how anybody can be allowed to operate a business, even transfer the license. I'm not against it, please understand that.
Yeah.
I think this is completely awesome. I'm just, how do handicapped people get into your facility?
Yes, and I don't want to pretend like I know the answer, because
Yeah, no,
that's not
I
my
understand that.
forte, and it's not our building.
Yeah.
But I will say, we were curious, and we asked the question, and we understood them, that it was a non-conforming, and the age allowed it to be non-conforming, and there's the concern of the business investment that it took to get to a certain point of accessibility. Now it becomes a building question, building owner question, which I think it's the right thing to do, and hopefully they're looking
sure.
at doing it. I think just from an investment standpoint, they're not forced legally to do it, how I understand, and hopefully that's something they are trying to figure out the feasibility and will work towards it, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that the town and all the permitting and everything, it hasn't come up before me asking the question tonight. It's kind of
And
shocking.
if there's a legal reason why, then that's probably why. But certainly we can get you an answer to that, Robin.
What age is the building?
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you
I
that.
believe 60s, but
Definitely not.
It was,
Let's find it on.
It's been there for a while. Yeah.
It'll be on
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
website.
thank you for the question.
Any other questions, concerns? Anybody who would like to speak on behalf of Seven Saws or?
I just, having been a neighbor of theirs in Holden, have really had a great relationship with these guys. Really great, trustworthy business owners. We had a really great relationship with them using our parking spaces and vice versa. They've been very generous to fundraisers that we've had, and we wish them the best here in Paxton. And also, they've done an outstanding job as business owners at the industrial park.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. So I can tell you, I attended the zoning board hearing, and it was a great presentation there. I was actually quite thrilled personally to hear about this going in. In fact, my son plays baseball, but I wish he plays soccer right now. But I think it's a wonderful thing
Yeah,
that.
batting cage in there.
That I saw the batting cage, yeah. I think it's great what Rick has set up in there, Rick Porter. And thank you guys for jumping on board and trying to make it into something even more spectacular. So I'm 100% happy with this happening, so.
Thank you.
so I too attended the zoning board meeting, and I'm speaking as a citizen, not as a selectman. I've played there a few times with the band, and playing with the band gives you a really unique perspective because you get to see how the public interacts and how the staff interacts and how the dogs have water bowls outside.
Yeah.
And it's truly an amazing community place to gather. So thank you for creating that.
Thank you.
Thank you, that means a lot.
And that was as a citizen, not as a selectman.
Well, my kids are playing, my older kids are playing in the adult league at the soccer asylum, and I noticed that the bar's been up and then, and it's been great. Nice to see a couple of families sat there. So I look
There
forward
was-
to it.
There was one comment that, I forget what the question was, at the zoning board hearing, but it was along the lines of, the answer, I remember. The answer was along the lines of, we don't expect anybody to be having multiple beverages here because you're paying for a specialty product, right? So,
Yeah,
At
I'll give
$8
you the
a beer,
backstory
people aren't
if-
going there
if
to
you
get-
permit me, I'll make it
Yeah.
quick. It was when we had the idea of 7 stalls, and we're proposing it to the town of Holden, and we were meeting with all the different facilities there, fire and police and so on, and they were going around table asking if anybody had any major concerns before we went too far with it.
yeah.
And it got around to the then police chief of Holden, the prior police chief, and they asked if he had any concerns, and he goes, "They close at 9 o'clock and are selling $8 beers." He's like, "I don't have any concerns." So it was, yeah, we try to make it less about having a drink and sitting at a bar and more about it being a community gathering place. Very minimal bar seats, more inward-facing seats, areas where people can collect, have a conversation, and, people are gonna be there with their families anyway after work and school. If they have an area where they might be able to get, bring some food, have a little, have a snack, enjoy time together,
Meet new friends.
meet some friends.
I ran into somebody last time I played in Holden from Lexington, Kentucky, where I'm from,
Yeah,
just on a break.
yeah.
It was, and just to see the intermix of people in the long tables,
Yeah.
like, you just meet new people. It's great. It's awesome.
So it's a community pub style. It's not a new venture or idea. It's everybody meets at the local gathering hall.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anybody who wants to speak?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Nick.
explore a little bit more. I don't drink, I can't stand beer and once in a while. But if they do get this license and the status of that building right now with the state or federal, are they allowed to serve liquor on the second floor? If it's grandfathered in, it's brought on.
It certainly sounds that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
That
so.
would be up to, Robin to work that through the state and try to get that so it's legit for everybody. Okay, that's all I want.
Yeah.
A quick follow-up question, would that have, I back to the ADA, I believe. Would that have been addressed at the zoning board? As part
No.
of the zoning board? No, that's different,
No,
okay.
probably not. The one thought I have that comes to mind is, I think we actually played there on Cinco de Mayo, and you guys were serving margaritas in Holden.
Yes,
Oh,
uh-huh, yeah.
So would that be considered a private event or under the license? Like, how would that work with the general alcohol?
So the license covers you whether you're doing a private event or whether you're open
Okay.
to the public.
All right.
Yeah,
It's this
it's-
facility.
Yeah.
So, transfer the license, and then the change,
Add the
request to change the license from club to tavern. which
Is what makes
opens
it
to the
public.
General
Okay.
public.
Right,
And then the all alcohol is another adjustment.
Layer
to
of
the
that.
license, yeah.
right,
Okay.
right. Yeah. Okay. If there's no other comments, I am going to close the public hearing. Hearing none, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and so now you can sit if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so now we'll have our discussion among the select board, any concerns that you have, and if none, then I will accept a motion. I think I would like to ask for maybe separate motions. One for the transfer, one for the license type from, to be transferred from club to tavern, and then the last to be a change from wine and malt to all alcohol if you so choose.
I'll second that.
So can we get one of those motions?
So I'll make a motion to change the license type from club to tavern.
Let's start with the transfer if we can.
Oh, transfer, I'm sorry.
Top line.
Yeah, transfer from club to,
Transfer from Lanick Porch.
oh, from Leanick
Yeah.
Porch LLC, DBA Paxton Sports Center, Inc., to Seven Saws Brewing LLC. Paul
Mulroy.
Mulroy, manager.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Any discussion?
No.
Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. It passes unanimously. Okay, so I'll take another motion if
Make
you
a
so
motion to
choose.
change the license type from club to tavern.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And then I'll make a motion to change from wine and malt to all alcohol.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. You're all set from us?
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Appreciate it.
All right. So that now goes
the
to the
ABCC.
ABCC, and then will it need to come back to us one more time, or no?
No.
And just goes to the ABCC, and you're good? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that from the ABCC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but don't feel obligated.
Is there anything fun on the agenda?
Oh, I had one question for you. I noticed in that transfer, there was the sale document for the
That's-
license.
Yeah, tell me, you're the one.
You're the
got
one that read it, yeah.
The price
Yep,
was one beer.
yes. You're so far the only one that caught that.
I didn't
We were
read that, I
obligated
just
to,
thought.
to do a purchase agreement, because it
Yeah.
went with the purchase of the building.
Yeah.
Right,
We
right.
officially had to do a
Yeah.
purchase agreement for the license,
I did see
so we
that.
made the agreement, one beer.
Try to have a little.
I thought that was great.
That's
Usually
awesome.
they say
So,
one
let it
penny
be
or
known.
$1.
That is awesome.
You heard it here first. Those are valuable beers you're just,
Yes, yes.
they're clearly selling them at a discount.
I
All right.
think it would have been nice to have some free samples brought with you.
Oh, I know, right?
That's for another meeting. I think.
We have to do that meeting off-town property.
Yeah, we'll do that at our facility.
I don't have to now.
All right.
guys. Thank you
Oh,
so
that's
Thank
right.
you.
You're right. I forgot
Thank you for
about that.
being
Good point.
stewards of the community. I love your business plan.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. All right. So the next three things we have is just our consent agenda. With that, I will list these off very quick. Number one is to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting held on May 28th, 2024. Number two is to approve the meeting minutes from the executive meeting held on May 28th, 2024. And number three is to approve the annual appointments for FY '25. Any objections to any of the consent items? Do we need to move anything further on?
So moved.
It's quite difficult to find things.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of stuff in this particular packet.
I'll second it.
Okay. So hearing no objections, I will declare that the consent items are all approved. All
I
right.
think I did notice there's quite a lot of vacancies when I looked through the appointments,
Yeah.
if I can ever find it.
Right, right. It's always nice to be able to call those out. But we can do it. If you find it and you want to.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that I noticed there were some vacant seats. I think most of them are probably on the website, so if anybody's interested, they should check out the website for any vacancies. The Anne Marie Scholarship Committee, there's only one member on that, so we really need to get some
Yeah.
members on that.
Right, right.
There's
Is
only,
it just what, Carrie Flynn on there right
Yes.
now? Yeah.
yes, and, they'll be starting up again soon, so, okay.
Right. Okay. So next I have Rich Fenton for the Historical Commission. Come on up, Rich.
You don't have to.
It's Monday. We're trying to get home.
Okay, Rich Fenton, 3 Nipmuc Road. I'm the chair of the Paxton Historical Commission, so I'm here to tell you what we've been doing in the last couple of months. First of all, we co-sponsored with the COA historical presentation having to do with the abolitionist Abby Kelly Foster and her husband Stephen. They apparently exchanged letters during the early part of the Civil War era. And this was an excellent performance, and it was very well received by a number of people at the COA. Second thing we've been doing is the T-shirts. We've been selling over at the marketplace T-shirts with the theme of the Paxton Navy Yard. We're pretty much sold out now, and so consequently we went ahead and placed an order for a new set of T-shirts which have the theme of Paxton being a dog town. Back during the Civil War era, when all the men went out to fight the Civil War, they left behind the women in charge of all the farms. And it was considered a dangerous endeavor, and so consequently they all bought dogs. And so after a little while, everybody had dogs, and so they got the nickname for Paxton of Dogtown. So we designed a shirt with that particular theme, geared toward children and so consequently when we get them, they will be on sale over at the marketplace, as was the Paxton Navy Yard one.
Rich, will there be adult sizes of those?
Oh, there will be adult
good.
sizes, yes. Anyway,
2024.
okay, the next thing we had, we just finished up the tour of the senior center building, the common, and the cemetery, having to do with the history of all 3 of those. The tour was geared toward the 3rd graders over at the Paxton Center School, and they just absolutely love running through the cemetery, and why, I don't know. But anyway, as well as listening to things having to do with the common and the fact that the senior center building used to be the school back in 1900. So we finished up with that. We also participated in the historical tour of the town hall. I was down in the basement with the lockup, the tramp room, and the 4-holer, which the kids 2 years later, they still bring the subject up when they see me. So they just love being locked up in the jail. I'm glad they can get out. But anyway, and they get to see the auditorium and the operation of a number of the offices going on within the town hall. So it's very, very much appreciated by the teachers and by the children. They receive it very, very well. And finally, we're working on the new calendar for next year. We're just starting to get out the pictures that we're going to be ultimately doing with the calendar. So that's what we've been doing for the last couple of months. Thank you.
Before you step down, Rich, what's going on with the former substation? What's the plan?
That's coming up shortly in the
agenda? Yeah.
the agenda.
Yeah.
Well, actually, for the 250th, we knew that was the original building that was built for distribution of electricity in 1914. And so consequently, a number of us painted it. We put a sign on it indicating what it was. But we did notice that it was full of file cabinets. And looked in the file cabinets, and they had lots of bills and things and having to do with the electric company. So after everything was over, I mentioned to the municipal light, and they just looked at me and they said, "What?" You know, they didn't have the foggiest idea, apparently, that was there.
Yeah.
So what they did was they went in, and they were absolutely amazed that it was there, that it had no business being there, and they pulled it out and stuck it back in the main building. So consequently, it's been sitting there vacant all this time. At that time, they gave me the key to the building and said, "It's a historical commission's." And so, fine, perfectly fine with me. I mean, it has all the history necessary for it.
Yep.
So we looked at it and decided that maybe it would be best to have this within the historic district. And then the question came up, were they allowed to give me the building? And so consequently, I contacted Tara, and Tara turned around and contacted Heather, and Heather contacted you, and that's how it ended up in your lap.
Excellent, okay.
So that's everything about it.
Do you have any particular plans for the building, what you'd like to do with it?
No, I mean, it's really not a functional building.
Yeah.
We're just keeping it so that it's not destroyed in the future, or somebody just gets the idea that it has to come down because they want some plants there or something. That's
Okay.
all.
All right.
We just want to protect it because it's historically important to the town. That's when electricity came in, 1914. That was the building where the electricity was distributed to the town hall when it was electrified. So we're just interested in preserving it, that's all.
Okay, great. So what I'd like to do, since you're here, and since we have it on the agenda anyways, we'll handle it all at once. So we need to grant permission for the Historical Commission to use the former substation at the Congregational Church. And by use, I think we mean preserve, right?
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none?
Be in good hands.
I think it will be in good hands, right?
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
All right. Brian Brosnahan is up. Cemetery.
I wanted to add with the addition of another historic building, we gotta fight for some more funds to keep these.
I was thinking this might dovetail nicely, Brian.
So Brian Brosnahan, 150 Somey Street, Paxton, Mass. Now the co-chair of the Cemetery Commission, Gordon, with the reshuffle, is now the chairman for this year. Pretty much the same as the last time I was here. Basically trying to keep all the cemeteries in really nice condition as far as lawn maintenance, tree service, headstone repair, which has been completed for last year. We do have a little bit of an issue at Moreland Cemetery with 4 dead trees. We share a bucket truck with, I believe, Gordon, maybe you can help me, Rutland.
Rutland.
And yeah, and every time we get our hands on it, we seem to break it. So we got it this year after 7 months of not having it last year when Rutland broke it, and we got a half of a tree cut down and they had to tow it away. So we need some help maybe getting some tree work done there. I don't know if we have to do it privately or wait for the truck to come back, but it's actually a danger at this point.
Okay.
Lots of falling limbs. Last winter, we had a limb knock a stone over, so we'd like some help with that if
And this is
possible.
at Moreland, you said, right?
That's at
I
Moreland.
mean,
It's on town property. I'm assuming.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, the electric light is a different component in town, but I know they have a bucket truck just kind of sitting idle once in a while. It'd be nice if we could work together with them somehow or other. I think the DPW could do the cutting if we could borrow a truck somehow. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
You might
I
wanna
mean, the
reach
good
out-
news is that you do have the tree warden sitting right here.
I was gonna say, you might want to reach out to the tree warden.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
Our funds are limited, but our ideas are,
All right, so we'll put our heads together, come up with something. It would just really kind of make it look that much better. I've had a couple of residents complain about it, with their flowers getting destroyed and constantly moving dead branches from their grave
How big are
sites.
the trees, Brian? I mean, are we talking substantial? Or?
I think is it a Dutch elm?
It's some kind of maple.
But what kind of disease?
They're located on the same street, there's 4 right in a row.
Yeah, something hit them and killed every one of them.
They're good-sized trees.
Yeah.
so,
It is an
so,
eyesore when you go in.
So which street is it?
Pardon?
Which street?
Good question.
I think it's when you go in the old entrance, not the new entrance.
Yep.
It's
Right at the back.
the second and the third, on the right.
Yeah.
You can't miss it.
Okay.
They're right there.
We'll take a look.
Yeah.
so ironically, I took Grace to drive there this past Sunday for her first
Shouldn't it hit the tree?
ever driving thing. And I
Did you notice them?
Those 4 trees.
Yeah.
I'm like, just don't hit those. But,
No, so something, that's really the only thing we really need to work on, getting repaired at that cemetery. We did have a resident that offered his services maybe to take the old iron gates off and have them sandblasted and repainted.
Oh, wow.
So that was Herbie Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
At the greenhouse. So I
Yeah.
said, hey,
Yep.
if you want to pay for that, I'll be happy to help you take them down. So,
Right.
Nice.
Yep. Regular maintenance, fertilization. On this coming, a week from Saturday, I threw it out on the Paxton Facebook page for any Paxton residents who would like to get involved with cleaning the headstones at Center Cemetery. So I've gotten some really great feedback. We purchased the product last year. It's called D2. It's a very safe product that's used for the headstones to remove the black mold, the lichen, and we'll have a couple of groups and some kids involved as well with parental supervision going throughout, doing the worst stones first and then moving our way through the cemetery.
I did see that post, Brian. I
Oh,
was
did
glad
you?
to see that you
Yeah,
got
that's
some activity on it.
22nd, isn't it? June 22nd, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 11 o'clock. If anyone's interested, bring your rubber gloves. I think that's it. Anything else, Gordon, that you can think of? Very good.
Anita, go ahead.
Yeah, about the stones, the third graders, they were very impressed that a lot of the broken ones were fixed.
Nice.
Because we said, they would see that something had been patched, and I said, now, though, that had been on its side, and, what was it, 2 years ago?
Mhm.
The third grade wrote a letter to you saying, please fix what's broken,
Yeah,
and so they were very happy.
nice.
But you will probably be getting another letter from the third grade because they were not happy with the mildew.
Oh.
Especially on the marble stones.
Okay.
Especially George Pierce, which is the marble for the Civil War
Mhm.
that has stars and stripes and.
Yes, I know that
it's
stone.
That's the most beautiful stone, in my opinion, in the whole cemetery. And
That'll be our
also-
first one now.
Pardon?
That'll be our first stone.
And the third grade is invited to attend.
I was just gonna say that.
And Major Willard Moore, you got it between him.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, they were very, ooh, I had a picture of what it looked like first, and I said, and so this happens with time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to have people routinely go through and maybe do 5 every month or something.
Right.
So you might get the letter, I don't know, but
I'm
they
happy
were-
to receive that.
They were very excited to see some that were white.
Yeah.
The marble had been cleaned, and I said, can you imagine if the cemetery, all the marble were white?
Right.
It would be incredible.
No, that's our goal.
That is a goal.
That's our goal. So we hope to
If
do
you
like,
Get a real
yeah.
group that's really dedicated.
right,
And just do so many a week or a month.
yeah.
It would just be wonderful. I mean, the lichen, you know, that's there.
That's easily
Yeah,
removable
yeah,
as well.
that's too hard, but they would really love it. And
Yeah.
they would also feel as though something they did and spoke up got a result.
They got involved.
That's-
I agree.
That's so important.
Yes.
So we hope to
I'm
do
so-
about a dozen on the 22nd, and then we were gonna try to schedule 2 more cleanings, but Robin mentioned it might be nice to skip July and August and try to do another cleaning in September and one in October. Just 'cause vacations, I'm not gonna get much
Right.
volunteerism.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I will tell the teachers to have the kids during the next months, walk around and see if they can find me. Have them feel as though they helped do.
That's great, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Brian and I, at the same time, you know, we've been working up there for a while. We want to clean all the brush along the stone wall that faces Paxton Marketplace as you're standing behind the Congregational Church.
Yeah.
Where the old crypt is in the ground, the beautiful lilac bushes, the beautiful gate. And then we just want to whack that all down and prune those lilacs so you can actually see the stone wall again. We've talked to Travis, and he said if we did it,
Yeah.
he'll come with a truck and take the brush away. So
And on top of that, what Gordon is saying is that electric building is, the substation is right behind that. So our goal this summer is to paint the trim on that, and then I'll be looking for donations for a new roof for that building.
I think the roof, you said, would be around $1,200.
Yeah.
To replace that roof. We would do it the same color as the Congregational
Try to do the
Church.
same, yeah, the same,
Black slate
yeah.
architectural trim.
so, but it's been great, a couple of great projects, and it's mostly all volunteerism, so that's the good part of it.
We thank you very much for all of your dedication and your
Yeah.
effort with these things.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I wanted to, I think at one of the last board meetings, it was mentioned that I paid for the new roof on the records building, and I was happy to take credit for it.
Thank you.
I got the bid, and I scheduled it to be done, but our generous neighbors in Holden, the owners of Miles Funeral Home, Rick and Bev Mansfield, actually footed the bill for that entire repair job. So we're very thankful to them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Thank you to the
initiated it, but
Mansfields,
thank
yeah.
you. Can we send a letter to Miles?
Yes, I think we should. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a good plan.
Yep.
Yep, so Donna, will you?
But
draft
thank
it?
you anyway. You started it, so
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. And Gordon.
thank you very much. All right, Nick, that's a tough act to follow. Come on up.
I have nothing to say. Well, Nick Plovich, 15 Tanglewood Road, Chairman of the Town of Paxton Cable and Communications Committee. I have no idea what the communication is about yet. We're working on it. All right, so a little update here. Our new contact with Charter has left the company. Are you aware of that, Heather? And the new person is Adam Needle. I haven't talked to him. I emailed him. He's in a conference this month or week or whatever, but that's really neither here nor there. May 5th of this year, we signed the contract, no charge, to have the 3 stations moved down here. That's going on roughly about 9 months from when Charter said they were going to do it. And we have no engineer yet, so I'm expecting probably another 9 months before we get that. So going on a couple of years, I think. October 6th, we began, in 2022, I began to reach out to Charter for contract negotiations. Ours expired September of 2023. Right now, we haven't negotiated anything. They're so disarray. There's our contact for the negotiations got canned. I'm not sure about the sales liaison, what happened with her. I assume she probably got let go too. They're kind of disarray as far as the executives are. No idea what's going on, but I keep plugging on. But June 5th, which was last week, Thursday, I talked to Jennifer Young, who's Director of the Government Affairs, and she's going to take over the negotiations for us. And she asked me for what my thoughts are, and I asked her for a template. I haven't heard from her yet, but it's still early. So I said that without talking to Select Board, that I'm okay with the 2013 contract. It's gives us $130,000 upfront collateral when we start, and it's 50 cents a subscriber for the income through the 10 years. In addition, I asked for reimbursement of 7 months of our prepaid Telview system that we haven't used because they missed their date by 9 months for installing it, of $1,482.93 for the contract. Some compensation. I think it's only right. And then I'll take that money and then add on the 5 or 10 months with Telview on the back end. I want reimbursement for a firewall that they put in. Well, we haven't been able to get it up and running for about 5 months, maybe longer. I've had engineers in here, tech support. I've been on the line with support down in Florida with Charter. They can't get it running. I talked to Telview, and the guy went in, we made some pictures, and within an hour we had it up and running. This is after hours of trying to get Charter to do it. And what we found out, or what I should say, Telview found out, is that the firewall was also in the router, and the router was blocking the enormous firewall that Charter put in, so it was really ineffective. And I'm asking for $1,400 or $1,305.92 for that reimbursement for something we can't use. Will we get it? I don't know, but it's at least worth going for it. And I will ask for a high-def channel, but I really don't think it's necessary because the the quality's pretty good, and we're pretty much, as Charter is, going to a streaming platform once we're up and running. Little back note here, or something you've probably been reading in the papers, Worcester's been in disarray as far as their contract. Their cable committee resigned recently because of the fact that they voted down of having Charter renew, and the city manager blocked them, saying, no, we're going to have Charter. So they're kind of floundering right now. I don't want to be in that situation. You know, I know we're just a small town. We have 1,500 subscribers, 5,000 people in town. You know, we're going to fold like a cheap deck of cards, like I say, but, you know, I'm going to try to get something. I don't think it's worth, you know, a knockdown battle for, you know, a couple things here and there. Let's see here. In the interim, Scott and I have been plowing through the Telview stuff. We're able to log in live now with the help of Telview, not Charter. And we've been going through all the modules to learn the system, because it's pretty outstanding what we have. It's really a national network broadcasting system that we have in that door right there. I like to use it. And YouTube, I just checked 5.3 thousand subscribers, or not subscribers, views. Our subscriber count's about 135. I like to get it up. We need to maintain 100, but we're getting a lot of hits on a lot, especially the override information too is just going bonkers right now on the YouTube station. And I'll ask Scott after the meeting, and you can hear me, Scott, how many subscribers or how many views do we have on some of the video on demand? You'll come back with that, I'm sure. And that's basically it, you know, just like I said, status quo. We are advancing slowly, snail's pace.
Charter.
Any questions?
Thank you, Nick.
No?
Any questions for Nick?
No, thank
Just
you so
one,
much.
real quick, Nick.
Yes,
So
Heather.
we're still not at a full complement on the Cable and Communications Committee, correct? Still
Oh,
at
right,
one
we
seat.
We have a new person, John Slavich.
And then we
had a
have
meeting.
one seat, right? Because it gets us to 5.
Yes.
Okay, so anyone who's listening at home who found everything Nick was saying to be riveting, or is great with technology and excited about having an opportunity to contribute to the town, we still have one vacancy on the exciting Cable and Communications Committee, which not only do you get to spend time with Nick and Scott, but you get to spend time with me as well. And we meet only about once a month. So for anyone who's out there and they have ideas on how we can do a better job with YouTube and anything else cable related, please by all means send in your volunteer application. We will be looking for it.
And we're looking for a new chair. That's it. Thank you, Heather.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, moving right along to new business. We have a request from Boy Scout Troop 105 to use Wentworth Field for a camp out starting at 5 p.m. on June 14th until 10 a.m. on June 16th. Is there somebody who would like to come up and speak? Come on up.
All right, I am Eskel Tranis, 391 Grove Street of Troop 105. I'm the senior patrol leader. And yeah, we're just kind of asking if we can rent the field for those couple of days, because we have some stuff that we're going to be doing at Paxton Days, and the Cub Scout pack that recently formed, Pack 306, would, I think, also be camping out with us, so.
Great. Tell me what you're hoping to do during your camp out.
We'd probably have like a fire. We're planning on cooking our own meals on like the camp stoves and just kind of basic scout stuff. Running around in the field, you know, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Good. Okay. So, quick question for you, and I assume I know you've already been in touch with Kathy Card for recreation.
Yes.
Have you asked about use of bathroom facilities while you're there?
I don't believe so, no.
So we'll need to make sure that you have access to the bathrooms
Yes.
for obvious reasons. But there are bathrooms right nearby, so I don't anticipate that will be a problem at all. We just need to make sure we get that.
All right.
And then, are you thinking of having one fire that everybody would be having access to, or are you thinking of having multiple small fires?
Probably just one large fire for the whole troop.
I think that's a good answer. Okay. So what, and the fire chief can certainly speak to this, but you want to tell us what usually you do for that kind of a situation?
Well, in the past, yes, we've inspected them before you light them and then when you put them on.
Right.
We'll be in touch.
All right.
We trust you.
Great.
It's not a rowdy group.
How many members is there? How many boys do
So
you
we've
expect?
got 5 members of the troop, and then anywhere from like 1 to I think 7 of the pack that could be there at any one time. So
So less than 15 scouts.
yeah,
Okay. And then but the Cub Scouts would come in separately?
I think so. Yeah.
That group, yeah, yeah. So that would add to it a little bit.
And are they sleeping over as well?
Are the Cub Scouts sleeping as well?
Because they're younger, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. I think if they want to, they probably would, but they
Probably.
obviously need like a parent volunteer
Right.
because they're like kindergarten, 2nd grade age. So
Yeah, they're younger, right?
yeah,
Good.
Well, it sounds great. Are you excited?
yeah.
Yeah? Good. It sounds fun. I mean, that whole field is fenced in, so that helps, in terms of wildlife, hopefully. Lord knows we have plenty of wildlife in town, especially of the big black furry variety. So I think that fence helps. It also helps make sure that, I know we had a request previously for somebody to camp out on the common. We had some concerns about that because it is between a bunch of roads, and if something were to, a car were to unfortunately divert its path, you don't have that problem down there either. So these are all good things. This is why we're excited to hopefully, assuming that everybody agrees, to approve your use of the Wentworth Field for this purpose.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions or anything for the Scouts?
No.
No? All right, so I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rich, maybe the 2024 T-shirt could be the Paxton with the Bears.
So, I don't know if you saw, if you go to Paxton Days on Saturday, Violet Putney is going to be selling buttons, and I believe she has a button that is designed with a bear on it.
That's awesome. That's
So-
awesome.
Crafty something, is it? Crafty.
13 and Craft.
13 and Crafter.
Yep. Yep.
That's great. Just glad I'm not the game warden.
All right. So moving on, who do I have here from the Garden Club?
You have
Robin.
myself, Robin Tasca. I am the vice president until June 30th, and then July 1st, I become the co-president with incumbent Sarah Root Simone.
Excellent. So we want to make sure that we thank you for all of the work that's been done in town on the municipal gardens. I have on my agenda work done on the common and the town hall, but I don't want to miss the work that's been done here.
Yeah, it's significant. It's not just the common. That's where we started, for
Yeah.
sure, but it is much more. We're managing several municipal gardens throughout the entire town. It started with the town common in 2022, and then we moved on to the Council on Aging Senior Center building in 2023, and then we are here at the Public Safety Complex. We started late last fall, and we are continuing on. We're very fortunate that we have a young Boy Scout, Ben Dumont, did I pronounce that right? Thank you. Who is working with us, earning some community service hours to help us dig holes and water and weed and so forth. So that's really exciting. We're hoping we can get maybe some more scouts to help join those efforts. We're also taking care of the records building planters that were done thanks to a cash donation from 2 landscapers in town. We're now taking care of the town hall planters, and then we've been doing the Memorial Day boxes. So it's a lot of color and beautiful flowers for the pollinators all over town, not just on the town common.
Yeah, Yeah, and
That's awesome.
I saw the work that was just recently done here.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but the island that separates between the apron of the fire station and the parking lot on the lower end, that is now beautifully planted
It
with a number
is.
of different flowers. It looks lovely. It's a lot better than the barren landscape it used to
With
be.
the occasional weed and milkweed
Yeah.
that's popping up. Milkweed's very important, but yes, it is. And then, yeah, so we're just very thankful that we're able to provide all of this color. And then in addition to the municipal gardens, we're also providing public programming over the course of the last 12 months. We've hosted over 10 seminars open to the public that we are funding for educational purposes on a variety of horticultural topics. So we're doing that as a give back to the community. And then new this year, which is a passion of our president, is an educator grant that we have created where up to $500 for a teacher working in Paxton. They don't have to live in Paxton, but they need to be working at either Paxton Center School or Turn Back Time or even Richards Memorial Library. We've written the grant in such a way that our children's librarian would be eligible for this grant, where they can offer a horticultural, environmental type program, and we would provide them $500 capital to do so.
That's great.
That's
So
lovely.
that grant actually is open to apply for until June 30th. It was open May 1st through June 30th. So we're doing a lot of different things to give back to the community.
Yeah,
And it shows, it certainly does.
It really does. And honestly, like, you know, having somebody like you on there, Robin, you know, we know
That's not
how
about
you-
me. It's
how
a
well
team
you
effort.
organi-
It is
I
a team
get it, I
effort.
get it.
We have 123 members that are very active.
Yep.
And we have a full board that does so much. It's a team effort. We have an excellent executive board and excellent leadership with our president, Sarah.
Great, that's
And your,
great.
and your Facebook community is awesome.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
this weed? And you get within 5
Yeah,
minutes.
right.
you
Yeah,
get
we
like
have a
5
wonderful group. Yeah,
responses.
so we
Yeah.
chose not to do just for why we chose to do a Facebook group versus a Facebook page specifically so that we could have that community engagement and discussion and sharing of pictures and so forth, and that it's not just about us pushing information out.
Yep.
It's a collaboration.
Right. Yeah, I actually enjoy seeing that pop up into my feed so that because I'll see the picture and I'll be like, okay, it's a little challenge, you know, do I know what kind of plant that is? You know? And then you can look in the comments and usually the
So
answer's
yeah,
in there.
so we really enjoy it. We're really glad, and it's interesting. 75% of our membership hails from Paxton, and then 25% comes from surrounding towns such as Worcester and Rutland, Holden, Princeton, Shutesbury.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gilbertville. I'm not even sure where Gilbertville
Oh, do
is,
we-
but that's
yeah.
one of the villages.
Village, right.
That, yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
we're
know.
very fortunate that we've got people coming far and wide.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you're always looking for new members.
Yes.
But I saw pictures from the annual meeting over at the Bloom Residence, which is
We were
interesting coincidence with the name, but
Yeah, I know.
over at the
been better.
Bloom Residence, but beautiful property, beautiful place. It looked like it was a very well-appointed annual meeting that you had. So
Yes.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yes, we were very excited to be celebrating our second year.
And the plant sale. And the plant sale.
Yep,
Very
exactly,
successful.
yep. So, and we had a very successful plant sale, and we're really appreciative of the community and that everybody's doing, especially, you know, our contributors, there's so many of them, but 10 West, Carlos at Paxton Market, Dolan Landscaping, M&A Property, I'm definitely forgetting more. We have a whole, they're all on our website, thankfully. I
Yep.
can't remember everything, but we're really grateful for the support of everybody. The fire chief, the police chief, the board, so we're very grateful. And then all of our members are just fabulous with everything they do for us.
Great.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Year-end transfers. Did we have any? Good. So nothing there. So next on the agenda is the Open Space and Recreation Planning Committee charge. So we're due up to renew our open space and recreation plan. And Heather, if you want to speak to what the thought process is with getting this committee going.
Absolutely. So about a month or two ago, I was reached out to by Jeff Cormier of the Recreation Commission because he was looking at applying for a grant, and he found out we were ineligible to apply for the grant because we did not have an active, up-to-date open space and recreation plan. So the open space and recreation plan, from everything I can tell, is required to be done every 7 years. It looks like there was one potentially done somewhat recently. I don't know if it was finished or not, but it still exceeded the
It was finished.
7 years apart. I haven't found it on
Yeah.
the website or even on CMRPC's page.
Okay.
But anyway, so I believe what we currently have regardless is outside the scope of the 7 years. And in order to be eligible for those grants, we need something up and running. So the idea is to establish a open space and recreation planning committee to get one up and running again. It usually takes, a good 1 to 2 years to do. You probably do it faster if everyone's rolling. There are some steps along the way. I did submit to, as part of the packet, the materials that we're looking at for that, for the open space, and of course now, there it is, it's in my PDF. Okay, here we go. So what we have here is just the mission to coordinate the review, revision, and approval of the open space and rec plan for the town of Paxton amongst various departments, boards, committees, organizations that are relevant. The membership, it really does focus on the community piece. So 7 voting members, 1 member of Concom, member of rec, member of planning board, select board, or town administrator, a member of the Paxton Land Trust, and then 2 community members. And each of the members for the individual boards and committees, we have just appointed by its chairperson, so it doesn't have to necessarily come back to the select board for a whole round for that. And then various deliverables, starting with gather and evaluate. The completion should be completion, not competition, although competition of past plans sounds better. All the way down to submitting a plan to DCS for approval at the end of May 2026. So again, this is part of the packet. I did not create this from scratch. I used at least 2 other communities in the state of Massachusetts that I was able to find their open space and rec plans and put together the composition. I also threw in a line that I think will be helpful for us. It just, under the membership, a majority shall be 51% of the current sworn-in members. So sometimes we run into a problem where we don't have a quorum because, let's say there's 7 members, but we currently only have 3 people who are serving those seats, and we can never make it happen. But having this provision, especially because it is a select board generated and created committee, I think it will be, lend us to being able to get work done.
Found it. We just found it.
Okay, great. Any questions, comments, or concerns for Heather? Rich, I was waiting for it.
About, I don't know, 3 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago or something or another, I brought this subject up with the Conservation Commission. And I sent them a whole bunch of material on what was necessary for revising the present open space plan. And it was my understanding that they've started working on it, but I haven't heard anything back from them. They sent me a thank you for informing them and getting them all the necessary things to update the present one. Is there any communication between the Conservation Commission and Heather?
That's a good question.
I'm asking Conservation Commission agent that right now.
Well, we can
Good question,
wait till
right?
tomorrow.
Rich?
Yeah,
I'm not a conservation.
I know, that's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Rich, do you remember what, when you were previously on the Open Space and Recreation Commission?
I was on the first one and the second one.
Yeah. What was the committee comprised of at that point in time? What was the membership looking like?
Actually, for the second group, we only had 5 members, I believe. 3 of them were individuals that I had asked to participate. And it wasn't a real organized event. We pretty much did the work. And we just got together once in a while, and I guess it wasn't a formal committee per se.
Right.
It was an appointed committee because it was appointed, and there was a long-time conservation person on there. Robert Burton, he was on there. He'd been on conservation for a long time. So So it
Rhonda
wasn't,
Burton was
yeah.
the chair.
yeah.
at
So it
that
was an
time.
appointed committee, and it was completed in, the DCR shows it's been 2021. It's expiring.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
so it has been
So
submitted
it would have been
everything.
completed in 2014 then, right? If it
So,
expired in 2021?
Essentially, the document needs to be updated.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be completely rewritten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since most of it is unchanged.
Mhm.
Right.
The hardest part of it is just going through the spreadsheets and changing which properties have been sold, which properties are suitable for conservation and stuff of that nature. That's all that needs to be done with it. So I don't think you need 8, 9, 10 members or whatever like that.
okay. I'm looking at it, yeah, we do have one member of conservation on here, so I wanted to make sure that that was the case.
And the recreation are involved, so I think it's only right that recreation should be
Yep.
up there,
Yep.
because it pertains to their fields as well.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I'm not sure about the
7 on there.
Paxton Land Trust.
Isn't it the Worcester Land Trust? Is there a Paxton Land Trust?
Yeah, I think there is.
Oh,
I think Rich is on it.
oh.
Rich,
okay.
are you on the Paxton Land Trust?
Pardon?
Are you part of the Paxton Land Trust?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, Rich, I'm hoping that maybe you'll throw your name into the ring for this?
After 2 of them,
Well, you'll bring a wealth of information forward.
I transferred all the information.
I tell you, I looked at this, that last open space and recreation plan when I was developing the town administrator brochure that we used for recruiting. That's where I got a lot of the initial information from. It was a nice, concise paragraph, especially at the beginning, that had all the information I was looking for. It was good. All right. So, with that, I will ask for any changes that you'd like to make, or a motion to get this committee formed and charged.
Is it the DCS or is it the DCR for approval?
I can double check that, Carol. I did pull it right from a few others. So, I mean, they could have had it wrong, or I could have wrote the wrong letter. But I want to say it was
How many
DCS.
members are you talking about?
Yeah, the members seem quite a lot. I think that's what
Yeah,
you're thinking,
I
yeah.
think it's too many.
Yeah, to get together.
We can't, yeah. I mean,
Lost
we
it.
have so many other boards and committees that are unfilled.
How would you like to see it? What would you change?
So right now they're talking about 7.
There's, yeah, 7 on there right now.
But I don't think a lot of it's, so most of it's the boards and committees themselves. It's not necessarily, I think it has, 2 community members on there?
Yeah.
The interesting thing about open space and rec, right, similar to the master plan, is this is really an important document for a municipality, because this says, what's our goal and where are we going with this direction? So I agree with Rich, in many ways, we're taking what we used before, but at the same time, we're also checking and see, has anything changed? Because this document not only describes kind of our future and the direction we're going as a municipality with regards to open space and recreation, but it also aligns us for future grants to help fund those projects. We want to make sure that whatever we're thinking of long-term, we say, hey, we want to get to that in the next 7 years. We want to make sure it's documented in this comprehensive document so that we can get the funding to actually make it happen. So I think it does need a little time sometimes to develop, and it is important to include, both residents and the people from all those committees, because those are the ones who are going to be doing projects that impact it. Okay.
I have no objection if you can get 7 people. That's fine.
I don't either, but I don't want to create a situation where they can't get a quorum.
They're saying
Well, that's the
50%.
51%.
Yeah, 50%.
Thing will fix that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, if we are able to get this many people involved and it moves
It's-
forward and is
it's a
effective,
bonus.
then great.
Yeah, no, I
If
agree.
if it doesn't work, we can always change it,
I agree.
right?
It's my first pass at this, the thoughts on this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine.
All right, so I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, so So we have a motion to approve the formation of this committee and the charge as written.
Yes.
I'll second, and we can get this posted so we can get volunteers and
Yep.
representatives from these boards that I mentioned.
Yep, excellent. All right, so I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, so that's all set.
So Carol, the follow-up, so the original, there was an open space and recreation planners workbook that's still referenced on the Mass website. And it references the Division of Conservation Services, so it's possible that became DCR after the fact. So I'll just make that correction in the charge. But that's where DCS came from. I don't think I created it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, liaison assignments for FY '25. I haven't actually even found that yet. Here we go, I've got it.
Page 103.
That's
See
crazy.
it?
It is.
I'm on page 17.
Page 103.
All right. You can see that there are highlights on the liaison assignments to delineate what departments are appointed versus elected. I'm wondering if somebody wants to give us some information about what they think the value of that is. We did it last year. Oh,
Yeah, well,
very good.
It was
I
last
I
year.
actually
wasn't
found
last
it
year.
helpful too.
Okay, good.
It
Well,
was on last year.
I thought that part of that was that maybe
Even it
the
out.
thought process that you either can spread it out or you maybe the elected ones don't necessarily need a liaison. So I think that's where we're going with it. Okay, thank you for the reminder. So as of right now, you can see how the liaisons are split up between the three of us. Is there anybody who would like to change their liaison assignments?
These are pretty much in line with what we've been doing. So no, I'm happy with.
I'm happy with them the way they are. Carol?
I'm
anything
fine.
you'd like
I
to
know that I've
change?
got to make more of an effort to get to these meetings.
We all do.
Yeah, you're not the only one. But it is what it is. We do what we can, right? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So we have a motion to approve as they exist. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Big difference from last year.
Yeah, we horse traded for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah. All right.
Mellowing.
Okay, so next up is the .gov domain discussion. I'm going to fill some space here while Heather's working. But my understanding is that she'd like to see us move from a .net domain to a .gov domain for primarily security reasons. So
Yes,
You're
so
on.
I had the opportunity to go to the state offered a free cybersecurity summit, probably about a month or so ago now. They did 2 this year. They were both very educational, and there were a few TAs and TMs in the room. So one of the coolest things we had looked at, I like, because I can take it back. So this is what they have currently, they publish. They have a lot of different organizations involved in the cybersecurity level. From the state, they're all pooling their resources. It's always good to expose to figure out, where do we go if we need help or anything else. But this is a nice takeaway they had, which is the Mass Municipal Cybersecurity Roadmap. So you see there, they offer 4 different categories: trained and cybersecure employees, improved threat sharing, cyber incident response planning, and secure technology environment and best practices. You still have some level of vulnerability, regardless of how far you are on this map or matrix. So level X, you still have some vulnerabilities, but you reduce them quite substantially. The goal is to get everyone at least to level 1, which is foundational. There's some more grants out there pertaining to the cybersecurity piece to help you align and accomplish some of these tasks. But right now, if you look at that, so we're getting there, but we're not yet foundational, right? So we haven't kind of sealed up some of the basic risks that are the easiest to take steps towards, right? The first one says executing a cybersecurity awareness training program for all employees. So we've done cybersecurity awareness trainings sporadically over the past few years, but we don't have a standard practice. We don't have a standard training that everyone's required to do on a period or certain time basis. So that's important. It's not just for the finance officials, right, who do have a lot of vulnerability in the positions they're at, but also for all municipal employees, because all it takes is someone to get into our network from one employee, and then they can go in from there. The next thing is registering for the different information alerts. We're all set with those pieces. The next is a policy for incident reporting, which we do not currently have. And then the last piece is kind of an easy hit, which is migrating to a .gov domain. So I did a little memo for the select board, just trying to highlight some of the benefits of doing that to the .gov domain. And now I'm trying to find my spot on my little sheet here. 1 second.
Page 105.
Let's see. Okay, substantial cybersecurity advantages, including stringent security measures, reduce phishing and spoofing risks. It also, right now we have the .net. Sometimes we also can get blocked from other people's emails because they don't register as the .gov, the higher security level. We had a lot of issues earlier this year when we were trying to comply with a requirement that the treasurer ended up in, which had to do with our online payment system, where it just did not like the .net. Regardless of what we did not like us. It was not secure enough. It was not happy. We had workarounds that took us, I think, 3 months with IT and me on the phone trying to figure out a way around it.
Okay.
So this would not be a very quick transition. It's kind of an overtime piece, right? The first thing is to actually secure the .gov domain. Then the second thing is to transfer our website to the .gov domain. And then over time, we start transferring emails over to the .gov domain. That part does not happen overnight, will not happen overnight. It takes a while. You kind of have to, I almost feel like Lori in the town clerk's office who has a checklist of everything you need to change when you get married. It's kind of like the same thing, everything you need to change when you change your email address, your contacts list, your listservs, and so forth. But I would like to get that process started. With that said, we did check out on the .gov websites they have for all the information on what we need to do to get it registered, the security settings and so forth. And the first thing was to do was to select a domain that might be available. Two of the ones that we thought might be the most palatable are townofpaxton.gov and paxtonma.gov. So I'm looking from the select board for two things at this point. Number one is permission to move forward. In doing so, it requires us to sign in, create a user profile and so forth, start logging in information, working closely with Julia as the chair, who will have to sign off on a lot of those pieces, and working with the IT company to get a timeline of the transition and the steps we would need to take to get that started. And then the second piece is selecting a new domain, one of these two, or if there's any other suggestions, we can always look them up and see if they're available. Donna had a great point, which is the dawn of, that's good, I'm making my own words up. Townofpaxton.gov domain is the most closest to what we currently have now, townofpaxton.net, so it's not a lot of change. And then the opposite argument to that is people are gonna still mix that up, and they're gonna continue to write .net instead of .gov. And then there's always the argument you could do paxtonma.gov because it's shorter and it's very different, but then again, it's very different. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you, my first thought was that you would go with townofpaxton.gov because it's closest. But I understand the thought process, the alternate thought process. So, do you have any concerns with this? I know our IT right now is still not quite where we want it to be. Do you have any concerns moving forward with another IT project while our town IT is sort of still in transition?
I'm more concerned about the cybersecurity risk and the lack of the secure website. I think even if it takes us a year or so to transition over emails, at least if we can secure the domain and get that process, then we'll be a little bit stronger in that, on the outside vulnerability end.
And then I know that we've gone back and forth with regard to spam in the email and how much spam we're getting in the email. At first we were getting nothing, which was great, but we also weren't getting important emails that we needed to get. Now we've gone the other direction. We're getting lots of spam, but we are getting the important emails, but now we have to mark each thing, and and that takes some time as well. Do you anticipate that this would have any effect on that once somebody's email would be a .gov email?
I don't have enough information to answer that question.
Okay.
That's not, I do not know the answer to that question. I can tell you as far as the filters go, because right now the primary is the Office 365 filter, so the more you tell it, the more it learns, or allegedly.
Yep.
And then we'll be switching over slowly to Acronis.
Okay.
So that should help more. Sophos, what it was doing is it was sending everyone an email, like 1 o'clock in the morning of the quarantine emails from the day before that you couldn't get to log into your password for your live webinar, because it was blocked, right?
Right.
So,
Okay. Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
No.
I had the same thoughts as you. And, townpaxton.gov sounds logical, but it might be easy to get mixed up. I prefer townpaxton.gov, but I do see why a complete change is better.
I can envision, how your browser stores your email address,
You
your
won't
web
notice it.
addresses. You'll start typing it
Yeah,
and it'll automatically fill in the rest of the way,
you
and it's
just
gonna keep
go.
taking you to .net, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be an
I agree.
unfound domain. So
Kinda like
that's what I can
when you
envision.
put in someone's email and then it's still coming up.
Yep,
6 months
yep. It's super frustrating, right? Yeah, so that
So
that
I
is
think
something
maybe a little different would be
might be
better
better.
from that perspective.
Yep.
About dogtown.net.
I like that. I am on board with you, Nick.
Nobody knew where we were, but
Yeah, so I totally see that as well.
Yeah, no, because I have that issue a lot.
Yeah.
And I will say that to the point of, should we proceed forward with our current IT company with a new project when we're still struggling through what we're doing right now? I get that, but I spent 2 hours on the phone getting the 3-person or 3-phase authentication going, and they were awesome.
Were they good?
They
Okay.
were like really awesome. I think I went through everybody in their entire company trying to figure out how to make it work, because I have 3 different outlooks
Oh dear Lord.
on my computer,
Yeah.
but they figured a workaround so that they can just text me a code.
Good.
They'll text me a code. So, but even then, he's like, "Okay, you got in? How'd you get in?" "Okay, I want you to go all the way out and then go back in 3 times
Yeah.
before I believe you."
Right, right.
So I will say that their support was incredible.
Good. That's good to hear. Okay. All right. So given that, is there a motion for proceeding forward with a migration that I think, I'll work closely with Heather in terms of, it sounds like she's going to need me to work closely with her on this anyways, so I'm happy to work closely with her to try to make this transition more seamless. And talk about plans going forward so that things go smoothly.
I'll make a motion to move that forward with the addenda that we make it different enough that it doesn't trigger the old
Yep.
and kicks them to the new.
Okay.
I don't know the technology term for that.
PaxtonMA.gov.
I mean, that's fine. I think PaxtonMA.gov sounds
Yeah, yeah.
great. Yep.
So with that addenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do. All right. We already handled permission for use of the former substation at the Congregational Church for the Historical Commission, so we're all set there. So now we can move on to the special town I'm sorry. Where's poor Scott? Scott, I wanted to move you up in the agenda so you didn't have to sit here this whole time. So can we move on to appointing Scott Connor as the Veterans Agent to fill the vacancy left by Jeff Kent? Scott, would you mind coming forward? Or we can take a microphone to you. Yeah, yep.
Everyone's giving them a mic.
There we go. Thank you. So we had Jeff Kent, who was our Veterans Agent for a number of years. And it was my understanding that you were willing to step forward to be our Veterans Agent. And one of the things I said to Heather is I said, you better make sure you run that by Adam Dowd. And then it was Adam Dowd that actually called me today and said, Scott needs to know where to go for the meeting. So I'm assuming you're here with Adam's approval.
Sure.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to do this?
Sure. My name's Scott Connor. I'm a 21-year retiree of the military. I've been doing the Veterans Agent job in other communities for a number of years. I have a main office in Spencer with computers on my desk with VA access and so on. And I enjoy doing it. I'm retired otherwise from the hospitality industry, and it became available. And it's not you have a nice veteran presence in the community, but you don't have a big load with claims and Chapter 115 beneficiaries and so on. So it was an easy thing. I've gone to a number of the veterans meetings here in town, and it's a great group, and here to serve and here to help.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any questions for?
Just a thank you.
I say, it's nice to have somebody who can seamlessly come into the position, who knows. I said it's nice for somebody to be able to come into the position that knows what to do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, all you need to do is contact Boston, and they'll just switch the Paxton account over to me, and I'll have access to everything that's in the on-base system that we use. And I'll work with Jeff on getting records or find out where they're stored and so on. So.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice to have somebody who can come in and support our veterans right away. Yeah. That's a nice thing that we have here. So, so I will entertain a motion to appoint Scott Connor as the Veterans Agent to fill the vacancy left by Jeffrey Kent, if you would like to.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So I apologize. I fully intended to put you further up in the agenda so that you didn't have to sit here and wait, but.
Actually, we're just testing your patience.
You passed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now moving on to the special town meeting on June 27th, 2024. So just to announce again, we will have a special town election on June 24th. That is a Monday. There will be one ballot question on that election warrant, which is already printed, is my understanding, and that's for a $950,000 override, which is stepped down from our previous $1.44 million override that we had requested in an attempt to continue to try to fund the operating budget of the town and reduce our reliance on free cash. So given that, we do have a special town meeting that will also have to take place, and that will be on the following Thursday, which is June 27th currently. We need to review the warrant articles and close the warrant tonight. The warrant does need to be closed tonight so that it can go to print on Thursday. Is it Thursday that it goes? I'm sorry, what?
It's going Wednesday.
It's going Wednesday, so it's going to go to print on Wednesday, and then it needs to be out and available for what's the time frame?
14 days.
14 days. And so that's why we need to do this tonight. So, that said, I asked Heather to put up the articles that she had originally drafted. There were 5 articles, And the reason we had 5 articles was that first we needed to rescind our previously voted articles since we didn't have an override to match that funding. And then we needed to vote depending on how the election goes. If the override passes, then we'll have an article that is contingent on that override. If the override does not pass, then we'll pass that over and then have an article that is contingent on an override not passing. How's that? That's a whole lot of murky water there, so I apologize. And then there were 2 articles in addition at the end in order to transfer this year's remaining free cash that would be available if the override passed to the various stabilization accounts. So, given that, my understanding is that town council had a gander at this and made some recommendations. The recommendation from town council was to combine the articles so that we would have 2 components to Article 1, which would be to, number 1, rescind the prior vote, and then number 2, to raise and appropriate for our operating budget. Town council's opinion was that it would be more nimble to simply raise and appropriate and not place numbers in this article. The numbers would then come into play at town meeting, on town meeting floor, where the motion would include the numbers. And by nimble, I mean that if the override passes, then you have one set of numbers ready to go. If the override doesn't pass, then you would have another set of numbers ready to go. There's no right or wrong answer as to how you choose to do this. I think you can do it in two warrant articles, or you can do it in one warrant article. It's not wrong either way. And it's just going to come down to, I think, preference in terms of what you'd like to see on the warrant. And then the last 2 articles, I think, sort of go without saying that we were planning on putting some of our free cash into stabilization, our operating stabilization, and into capital stabilization. I know we had discussed this previously here in a joint meeting, and then we also had a discussion at a finance committee meeting that followed that. And what's currently listed here is what the finance committee had voted on at that second meeting, which was to split the available free cash essentially in half and put half in one and half in the other, which is, in my opinion, fine. So we need to have a couple of discussions around how you want that first article to read, whether you want more than one article for the budget, and if you agree with what's here in terms of the amounts going to stabilization funds. Go. Okay, I'll start us off. I am totally okay with moving the vote to rescind under Article 1 so that the 2 go together.
I agree.
I know we got an email just prior to this meeting from Mark, who is dead set against having an article that doesn't have numbers in it. We typically do have an article with numbers in it. My concern, I'll tell you, with not having numbers in the article is that I am afraid that we will have a mistake and that we won't be able to fix that mistake. So I would much rather, this is just my, and maybe there's not a lot of basis to it, right? So just my thoughts here, though. I like to have the numbers in the article so that we have something concrete that we're looking at as we're going forward. I'm worried that if you don't have the numbers laid out right now, that potentially changes too much. And as it changes, that mistakes get made prior to town meeting. Like I said, that I may have absolutely no basis for what I'm thinking here, but that is the concern that came to the top of mind for me.
So you're saying you prefer to have the 5 articles? Or one
It would
article?
be 4 articles at
4
that
articles?
point.
We rescinded number 1.
Yep.
My thought is that it's optics to some degree, not putting the numbers in the article. But waiting for town meeting, just in case we made a mistake. I would think that with all the qualified people that we have working on this, that we should have the numbers as close as we're probably gonna get them. And the optics of that could be, you know, that we're not being completely transparent. From people who aren't, like, involved in this every day.
Right, exactly.
You
I mean,
know,
I think
I'm just
we would understand
speaking.
why the
Right.
numbers weren't there, but, you know, the general public may not understand that.
And that's my concern, and it's eerily quiet out there right now. So,
In terms of numbers, I know finance is still working with the budget currently. And so do we have enough information around numbers to be able to put numbers in the article?
Keeps timing out. We have enough information, so if we go back to the original version we had here, right? So we have enough information to populate the bulk of Article 2 and the bulk of Article 5. What we don't, and we have enough information to even do the backup on Article 2 because FinCom voted for that at their last meeting on Wednesday. We don't have backup for Article 5 yet. We have what the departments, myself had proposed and we had put forward at the last town meeting as the reduced services
Can we
budget.
yeah, okay, I just wanted to be
Yep.
clear what Article 5
Yeah.
is, okay.
The reduced services budget, so that in the event the override fails, we have those pieces together. It seemed like FinCom was in consensus with the details of this article, the total amount of money that would be raised and appropriated, the total amount of money that would be utilized from ambulance receipts and the same from free cash and the total everything in that article. But I think they wanted more time to be able to dive into what makes up those numbers on the expense side. Did I capture that right, Mark?
I'd say, yeah, yes. If I could just knit the two conversations together, the articles that are up on the board right now drafted with the draft watermark, there were 5 of them. The Finance Committee was absolutely positively readied to vote for the first 4, Article 1, 2, 3, and 4. In conventional wisdom was, don't vote on them until they're closed, which is this evening. So it's slightly semantic that we're okay with the first 4.
Yeah.
The 5th one, because there are $835,000 worth of budget cuts in the event that an override fails, the Finance Committee wanted a little more time to look at that. And the feeling was, if you close the warrant articles, correct me if I'm not correct here, that means you can't add one. But if you had 5 and we dropped one or modified it on the floor,
Yep.
we felt that was in the best position where you have numbers, you have the amount that's going to go in the various stabilization funds. We were, don't want to overstate it, we were perfectly fine with the draft articles 5 that were presented. We were ready to vote for 4. We wanted a little more time, and we're meeting Tuesday to do that. And that's the only laser focus that we have on our agenda. So we would be ready for town meeting. And as you know, and as Heather herself has said repeatedly, finance committees nationally don't like warrant articles that don't have numbers in them. And that's what the re-proposed collapsing of the 5 into 3 accomplishes negatively. It has no numbers. Now, keep in mind, we might issue an informational guide that has numbers. There's a Finance Committee report that's going to be part of the warrant article. Those have numbers.
Yep.
And now you would be at a town meeting where you don't have any numbers. And I think we've all learned from the last town meeting we just had, people get very confused.
For sure.
Even people that are fully in the know of all of these things that have proceeded for the last couple of months.
100%.
So to not have any numbers and try to speak to what the numbers are, I think is going to add to the confusion. But if they had it in their place setting with the numbers, we would much prefer that.
Carol, do we have to close
So,
it tonight? Do we have to close it tonight?
so here's my thought. And I think it's a compromise so that finance continues to be able to review what the present Article 5, which I think would become Article 4 in a moment, is that we have the override contingent article, the current Article 1, with numbers in it. We know what that's going to be. Finance has voted on that, and we can get numbers in there. The current Article 5, or the reduced services budget, I would propose that we leave that one without numbers, only so that finance can continue their review. Since we still have to close the warrant tonight, we would have to have the language set. But I don't want to, we could do it one of two ways. We can set it with the numbers we think right now, right? And then it can always be amended on the floor. However, I think it's probably cleaner, because the way that, as we all saw, and as Mark just referenced, the way that it went down at the last town meeting, where we had a motion to amend and then a motion to move the question. We were 3 motions deep at one point, and that's when people started to get very confused. So if we can get away without amending a motion, that would be better, because I think that becomes confusing. And the way to do that, I think, would be to have the warrant article for the reduced services budget without numbers in it, so that finance can continue to do their work, and then finance will give us the numbers that will plug into the motion at town meeting. But we would still have numbers in the original article in the event that the override passes.
Here's just a crazy question, but if we're required to have a balanced budget,
Absolutely.
so if the override doesn't pass,
Yep.
that's what we're stuck with. You know, the budget we have is what we're stuck with.
Right.
We don't necessarily have to, do we have to vote on
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yeah, you still have to
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah, it still has to be appropriated from the various
So
revenue
we
sources.
can yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. You see, but does that make
I
sense?
understand what you're trying to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, how do you feel about that, Mark?
Well, I'm going to go back to the original draft warrant articles where there are 5. We are positively in full support of 4 of the articles as they absolutely read right now. I would venture to say the 5th one is not going to change. Just the fact that 3 principal public safety, public works departments were going to need to be cut by $799,000 is no small challenge for the finance committee to want to absorb. We're certainly not going to cut it anymore. And I don't think we're going to change what the department heads and the town administrator have poured over for months and months and months. But we just didn't get to that point that evening.
Okay.
So 4 of them are solid in the bank, and the 5th one is knocking on the bank's door.
Okay.
I would advocate that you close the articles with the 5, and on the outside chance that there's a modification to number 5, let's hope we don't have to deal with Article number 5.
Right.
Is an important point to note as well. That's what we would.
But if that has to
Be
be
very
modified,
acceptable
it'll have
too.
to be modified on the floor.
If it has to be if we put numbers in it now, the way that would have to go down on the town meeting floor is it would be a motion to amend. And then it would obviously require a second, but that motion amend would have all of the revised numbers in it.
But that motion to amend would come from the finance committee, because they're gonna finalize that hopefully Tuesday, right?
Right.
Next Tuesday.
Which
not tomorrow.
the major macro numbers that are in the article are not going to change.
Yeah.
What might change is
The
maybe
distribution.
police takes a little bit slight less of a cut, and DPW a little bit more. I hate to be playing chess here, but
Right.
that's really where we wanted to get into the weeds. The actual number that we need to balance the budget without the override is the macro numbers up there. I don't think those are gonna change.
Okay. All right. So hearing that, town council had suggested placing the rescission vote in the article for the operating budget, the way he had written it, where that article would go either way. So the next question I have for you is, would you rather just leave it at 5 articles, right, which is totally okay, or would you rather take some of town council's consideration, but you would need to add that rescission to 2 articles? You would need to add it to the article that's contingent on the override and the article that's for reduced services. Or you could have it be its own article still.
I don't know what you're saying, because only one article passed at the last town meeting, wasn't it? And it was the one that was contingent.
Right.
So really, in effect, it's not passed.
Right.
But we're cleaning it up on the accountant's advice, which I agree with. So we're cleaning it up,
Yeah.
and that's why we're rescinding that
Yeah.
Article 17.
Right.
I understand that completely. And then we're going to go to raise and appropriate based on the override passing. That's the second article.
Right.
Then we've got the third and fourth, if that passes, for the transfers to stabilisation capital, which we've a 50-50 at this moment in time
Right.
from the finance. Then we only need the fifth one if the override fails.
Correct.
So we still need the 5.
So what town
but-
council did was they incorporated that first one with the rescission
Yeah.
into the article, so,
So you only need one for both.
so you would need, right, so you would add it as part of the article language for the budget that's contingent on the override, and then you would also add it as part of the article language
If it-
for the, and then you would reduce to 4 articles at that point. I think it's semantics which way
Well,
you
you could
do
just
it.
pass over the last one.
Semantics.
You absolutely would just.
Then you wouldn't
yeah.
have to even consider it.
And I
'Cause we're not-
think
Sorry.
just from optics, just from optics, just rescinding it right off the bat, like, okay, we heard you, town, taking that one off the plate. Here's the other 4 that we're dealing with now.
Yep.
Maybe more palatable, or more clear, more easy to understand. I mean, from my perspective.
So here's what I think Julie was talking about. So this is version 4. I now keep versions of things because I go crazy. So this would be Article 1, where we would include the rescind vote and the raise and appropriate. That is the override contingent language with all the details. We'd go down to, here's some stabilization money, here's some stabilization money. And then we'd go down to Article 4 now.
What-
And Article 4 would have that same rescinding language. So when we got to town meeting, if the override did not pass, we would just skip 1 through 3 and go right to Article 4 and everything is within. And if the override did pass, we would do 1 through 3 and never do Article 4. And that would cover our basis. I believe.
Yeah, so that is what I was saying. I don't think it matters one way or the other, which way you do it.
I'm just trying to think what's the easiest and clearest path for everyone to understand.
So if the override passes, then you're gonna do, assuming that we maintain a 5-article position. If the override passes, then you're gonna go through Article 1, which revokes
yeah.
the prior vote. Article 2, which appropriates for the budget. Article 3 and 4, which would transfer to stabilization, and you'd pass over Article 5. In the event the override does not pass and we still maintain a 5-article position, then we would have to vote on Article 1 to revoke, the prior decision of town meeting, and then you would go right to Article 5, which would put in place the reduced services budget. I don't think it's all that confusing either way. I think it makes sense. So however you want to do it, not a big decision here. Of all the big decisions we
Yeah,
have,
no,
this isn't one of them.
I like the last
Yeah,
explanation. To me, just
Yep.
sounded, and I'm just trying to look through it from the lens of someone
Yep.
who's not been deeply involved, but I think that's a clearer path forward,
Yep. And it's,
in my opinion.
I think a lot of it is about what is the general public going to understand better. And if you think that the general public is going to understand that approach better, then that's totally fine.
I'm about as general public as you got.
Kirk, are you saying the general public would be clearer to understand the way it's proposed now, or to have
With the 5 articles.
5 articles? I agree. I think you
And-
say, this is where we were,
Put the
it
numbers
didn't
in.
pass, let's rescind it. Now we're here on a new evening, here are the 4 new articles.
And put the
Yep.
numbers in.
I think that would be clear.
And if we have to amend the 5th on the floor, then that's what we have to do.
Yep. That's fine with me. All right, so let's go through the articles. So I'm going to ask for a motion for Article 1 to be to see if the town will vote to rescind Article 17 from FY25 override contingent budget article previously voted on May 6, 2024, Article 17, or act in any way related thereon. So.
Wanna change that, Julia?
Yeah. What do you think it should be? I think it should be finance. Should it be? How do you feel about that, Mark? Submitted by finance to rescind that vote, or it could be. Select board. I'm totally okay with it either way.
Can it be submitted collectively?
By both finance and select board. I don't see any problem with that at all.
I don't either. So moved.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to place this article as Article 1 on the special town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And is there a motion for approval of Article 1?
So moved.
Second.
Is, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. We've gotten that out of the way. Article 2 will be our budget article that is contingent on the override passing. So to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,479,734 or any other sum, and to further appropriate from the ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation account the sum of $400,000 or any other sum, and to further appropriate from the available free cash the sum of $394,982 or any other sum, and to raise and appropriate an additional $950,000 for a total appropriation of $8,224,716 or any other sum, and that such sums be expended as written in the attached budget, provided that such appropriation shall be contingent upon the passage of a Proposition 2.5 ballot question under General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, or act in any way thereon. Is there a motion for Article 2 to be on the special town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Is there a motion, I'm sorry, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Is there a motion to place Article 2, or the FY25 budget contingent on override article as Article 2 on the warrant?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. And is there a recommendation for approval of Article 2?
To approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Moving on to Article 3.
Sorry.
That's all right. This is FY24 free cash transfer to operating stabilization to see if the town will vote to transfer from available free cash the sum of $57,250 to the operating stabilization fund or act in any way thereon. Is there a motion to place this article on the town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Is there a motion to place this FY24 free cash transfer to operating stabilization motion article on the warrant as Article 3?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Julia, does it have any value if it's submitted jointly?
I think it does. I think it
think
does.
it's-
I think it shows that
speaks-
everybody's on the same
So you're
page.
doing that for all of them?
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
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 Yep, I think that does carry some weight. All right, and is there a motion for approval of Article 3?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, same thing for Article 4. This is the FY24 free cash transfer to capital stabilization to see if the town will vote to transfer from available free cash the sum of $57,250 to the capital stabilization fund or act in any way thereon. Is there a motion to place this article on the town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to place this article as Article 4 on the warrant?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion for approval of Article 4?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Article 5. So we have numbers in here now based on what they are. This is the FY25 budget not contingent on override article, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,479,734 or any other sum, and to further appropriate from the ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation account the sum of $400,000 or any other sum, and to further appropriate from the available free cash the sum of $509,482 or any other sum, for a total appropriation of $7,389,216 or any other sum, and that such sums be expended as written in the attached budget or act in any way thereon. Is there a motion to put this budget not contingent on override on the town meeting warrant?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to place this article as Article 5 on the warrant?
Yes. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And is there a motion for approval?
Aye. No, that was
Motion to
afterwards.
approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I just thought we don't need to come to that
Yeah,
because it's going to really,
it'll be confusing if we have to change
well,
it.
not that, it's just, it's going to be,
Oh,
it's going to really,
yes,
it's going to decimate some
It's
of
gonna
our
be-
departments.
problematic for
Yeah.
sure.
And I just hope we can get the word out that the full extent to what that means to our departments. Every department will be affected.
Right.
Even if it's in a small amount, but the major public safety departments will be affected greatly. And-
Significantly.
And they won't have, the residents won't have the service that they're used to.
Right.
So I hope it doesn't come to that.
I think that it's important for people to know that we are not, and I know Mark has started working on some, hopefully, information that we can get out. Obviously, I think everybody received the email from Heather earlier today with town council's sort of guide rails on, our guidepost, guardrails.
We gotcha.
Pushing things together, sorry. With town council's guardrails around how that information can go out, right? So it has to be information that is sought out by a member of the town or public. It cannot go out to them proactively, which is part of the problem we're running into, because I think that's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants the information to go out to people so that, so that it's sort of more easily accessible to them, including having, I know there was a suggestion made previously of having like paper copies available, but we can't even do that. So that's problematic for us.
I think you said you can,
You
it just has
can,
to be a
you can't paper
reasonable
copies.
number.
You can't push them out unless
Right.
people ask for them.
Yeah, right. So he said, I thought he said if you were having a meeting about it, you could have paper copies
Yes.
available.
You would have some
Yes.
at town hall
Yeah.
too, for people
Yeah.
to
Okay.
pick up.
All right,
But you don't give them to people unless they want them.
yep, right. Go ahead, Mike.
Julia, he does say that you can post it on the town website.
Yes, he does. Yep.
I would not underestimate the
Power.
value of doing that.
So
And have you approved and seen the informational guide?
I have seen it. I think it's a good place to start. I think there's more information that we can put on there, and potentially have even more impact. There's a number of things on there that I thought were very important to note that you hit the high points of, which are mainly, we're not looking to increase services. We're not adding staff with this. We are just looking to maintain the service that you currently have, which is an important note. One thing I thought we wanted, that I would like to see happen is less of a focus of where the free cash is going to go, but more of a focus on why that was included in the override, which is to reduce our dependence on free cash going forward. It just so happens to be that this is where that free cash that would still be available, we're going to put it this year. But ideally, going forward, this is starting a trend of reversing our reliance on free cash, which is going to make us more financially stable as a town. And that's the goal. That's why we have that additional amount in there. You know, so there's a lot, I think, that needs to be said around that in terms of, you know, making it clear that we didn't just throw extra money on there so that we can pad the town's coffers. That's not what we're after, right?
Yeah.
We're putting that money in there to reduce our reliance on free cash going forward, because when we rely on free cash, we're creating the structural deficit year after year that we're trying to make up, and that's putting us in a bad position every year. So that's the idea, that's the point.
The only thing I would ask or add is that we offered to write it, you accepted the offer, we did it.
Absolutely, yep,
And if you look at it, it's the signatories of the Select Board and the Finance Committee.
yep,
And the Finance Committee voted to approve it as was submitted to the Select Board. You certainly have editing rights and responsibilities, but if you do that, we'd like it to come back to us if we're going to remain as a signatory so that we can ratify it.
For sure.
Second time. We're planning on meeting either next Tuesday or Thursday of next week.
okay, yeah,
So if we could comply with that timetable, that'd be great.
right.
And then we can get it out.
And one suggestion I had was, I know right now it reads as a letter. I don't know if maybe it
Bullet points.
might be
Bullet
better to
points.
go with bullet points,
I mean,
right?
you know, bullet points. It's too
I'm a
early.
bullet point aficionado, but I was limited to one page. And
Right,
I-
right.
But with bullet points,
So
you
he's
get
trying
there
to
faster.
use all the available
So
space, I get it.
complied with the one-page requirement.
Yep,
Change your font.
Yeah.
yeah, no, and I think one page is a valuable place to be, so
I
you
think,
have to.
yeah, I think after one page, people are just
People
gonna,
aren't gonna, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, what are they gonna look at, what's gonna be quick and easy for them to digest. And I do think bullet points would be helpful.
I think bullet points, and I also think,
And he's not far off of that, because the way you have it
No.
broken it up,
Yeah.
it's almost there already.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I just think a little bit more information on the final numbers. I think we should be saying what the cost is per thousand, not just throw out a number for the average, the 556.
Yep.
I think we should be saying what the average single-family household is,
yep,
so that people can gauge it, but also say that what the amount is per thousand,
yep,
because then they'll be able to do their own math.
Yep.
Based on the current
yeah, they can go on.
current values, yeah, which can change, obviously, but not so much change, but the tax rate will change.
yep,
Good point, Carol.
I just think
Really
we should be able to work it out for themselves.
Because I've had people pull me aside, my taxes are gonna go up like $150.
Yeah.
My
Right.
taxes are gonna go up $75. I'm like, I don't know, what's the value of your house?
Right.
Like, I don't even,
yeah, I know.
so I
It's a
think
hard
that's a
question
really
to answer
good,
for somebody.
that's a really strong point. Thank you.
Are there any other thoughts that you had, Carol? And I'm happy to take a look at it and try and add some things.
Yeah, just a little bit more
Adjust.
detail on, and I think it's out there somewhere, but there's been a lot of communication out there, correspondence out there, and communication out there, but I think we should just delve into what it really means to the fire department, police department, and the DPW.
Yep,
And every single budget has been reduced by something.
right,
Might have the same amount, but that's because of other factors.
right,
Everybody's getting it, except for the what we have to pay for, you know, the retirement, the health insurance and so forth. But everyone has taken a cut in some way, whether it be purchase services, supplies, or in the case of the town hall, the 2 support staff, the hours have been reduced. But like I say, with the fire, losing 2 EMS paramedics and 50% of their on-call, I think that's, and admin assistant, I think that needs to be there somewhere.
right.
Because just to remind people what it means, because I think a lot of people have
You could almost
forgotten.
set up a matrix to that
Well,
effect, you know?
yeah. I think there is one somewhere, but I think people aren't going to start looking behind now. They're looking forward and,
Right. That's the thing. A lot of this information, it's not like it wasn't available,
yeah,
right?
it's been there, but
It's
now
been available
everyone's
on
in
the
one
town
place
website,
now, I
but
think. It's just one
Well, how many questions came up at town meeting, and
You're right.
it was clearly obvious that
Yep.
we didn't get the facts out there, you know, or they
Right.
didn't know where to find them. So I don't know where the fault lies, but
Right.
This is
maybe
our
they
last-
didn't look.
No.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
Well, there's a lot to go through.
It is a lot.
Yeah. So I think if we've got here in one place, I think that's what we need.
Right.
I really do. It's our
Just a
last shot.
A quick hit, and
Yeah.
it needs to get out there.
Yeah,
Totally
I think
agree.
so.
Yeah.
And I just hope everybody realizes what it means to the town.
Yeah.
This are the facts, nothing but the facts.
Yeah, we're
Right.
not, it's not scaring
Straight up.
anybody. It's people. I've seen people say that, but they don't understand why we need this money when everything looks so good. Well, it's
It
to
looks
keep-
good because we
because-
spent the money
yeah,
to keep it this way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know.
So we,
Yeah.
we just
And I think we need to say something in there about, and I think Mark hit on it already in there as well, which is the reason why we're here is not because we're misspending the money, it's because the costs have gone up comparatively, you know, to our revenue increases, so,
And our state reimbursements have gone way down.
and state
you
reimbursements
know,
are not
and
there.
Our
Yeah.
education reimbursement has gone way down,
Yeah,
you know.
I think always been frugal as a town, and now we need to, get with the times and.
and, you know, we're not the only community in this position.
Not at all. There's many
Well,
times
Look
that.
at Rutland, they did the big override last year, and they're in
Yeah.
trouble again.
They're looking at it again, yeah. I mean, many of the other communities around us are looking at the same situation, so.
Rutland pass it for this year?
Yeah, not this year. It was,
They passed an
year.
override last year, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year, they were able to meet their budget, I believe, right? But
But it's, yeah, they're razor thin.
they're in a tough spot. Wouldn't surprise me if they were looking at another override for next year.
Well, their population increases and the school enrollment increases.
Mhm.
Ours doesn't.
Right,
So,
yeah,
at
ours
the
stays
moment,
relatively
anyway.
stable, yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty. Ours is lowered this year.
The other thing that we were gonna do to try to get the word out was have an informational session.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have time to do that now.
Before we do that, Julia,
Yep.
did you guys want to approve the full warrant to sign it?
Yeah, I wanted to
Oh, okay.
do this
I just
first.
want to make sure we don't forget that.
Yeah, I haven't lost sight of it, don't worry. So, I wanted to do an informational session. I was hoping that we were gonna be able to do it on Monday, the 17th, and do it at the school, but the school is not going to be available that day. So I had asked Heather to look at, you know, other places that we could potentially do the informational session. I'd hate to see us not do it.
What about you?
I mean, it's much more important that it just happen, I'm not worried about where it happens, right?
Well,
Like,
it's,
Can we
the
do it-
school was ideal,
Did
but
they have T-ball that night, or?
no,
baseball?
there's no, I mean, I think baseball is, there's gonna be T-ball, I think, on Saturday mornings, for the next week or two. But after that, you know, the spring season is over.
I mean, I got speakers and microphones, we'll do it on the town common. Pick a time.
Right?
How about the lounge and the soccer center?
Hey,
What if you-
now we're talking.
What if you just set up a special time at Paxton Days?
That's not a bad idea
Because
either.
people already be there.
Will we
Can
have
we enjoy
bands
Paxton
playing
Days
the
that
whole
day?
time? I know.
Yeah,
Seriously,
I'm
that's
gonna
not a
be
bad-
tied up with summer
That's not a
jam.
bad thought. Yeah, and we've got people playing pretty much the whole time, yeah, so I wouldn't want to compete with that. And I don't disagree with you, Carol, we need a time to be able to
Could
just
you have a
relax.
booth? Could we have a booth at Paxton Days?
Can we have a booth at Paxton Days?
It's Paxton Days, right?
I mean, I'll be tied up with summer jam, but
Yeah.
that's, whoever said that, Nick, it's not a bad idea.
I mean, I'm probably gonna be there the whole day. The concern with having a booth, right? Certainly people can ask questions, but you can't advocate, right? Like you can't advocate
Yeah.
one way,
it's just one person.
and I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, no, that's a
I
good
wouldn't
point.
like to put one person on the spot either.
Yeah,
And that's a good point. And then there'll be 4,000 other things that'll land on our plate as a result of that.
I think the most important thing is that we do have one last shot at it, but even if we don't get the attendance, it's available. So if we do it on Monday, maybe if we do it here,
Yeah.
it'll get recorded and people
At least we
know.
can say we tried.
Yeah,
right.
it's one last time.
We have to make sure that the room is available. Can anybody see that calendar? The 17th? And we can certainly make a Zoom option available as well, for anybody who, just to open it up.
What's happening at the school? Why is,
I think it's at like 8th grade, some kind of graduation activity or
so,
something.
so it's gonna be busy anyway.
Well, that's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Put it
I
on
mean-
the town sign. I mean, that's gonna,
So, but are we gonna lose the parents to the
That's what I'm
8th grade
saying.
thing?
yeah.
yeah,
If you're competing with
That's
it?
meeting.
but at least if we've got it here, we can record it correctly and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least we can record it. I mean, unless you think there's another day,
So I
that's
think the
better.
only other day that would work is Mark's meeting's on Tuesday for FinCom. So we could do it on Thursday at the school, because the school is available.
Can you guys mull on this for like 2 minutes? Why?
Yeah. We'll take Scott, we're gonna take a quick recess.
Your executive sessions.
Told you.
We are live.
Yep. Okay,
Big
so
times in a small town.
that was a recess, but we're back now. So this is the returning to the meeting of the Board of Selectmen here at the Public Safety Complex on Monday, June 10th. It is now 9:17 p.m. So we were talking about having an informational session, and considering the option of having it on Thursday at the school because the school is available on Thursday versus having it here on Monday, where we were concerned that 8th grade might be having some kind of end-of-year activity happening there, and so those parents may not be able to attend informational session. However, we would be able to record it and they could watch it later. So what say ye? Monday here or Thursday at the school?
I think Monday here, sooner than we get it done.
I agree. The
So
sooner
it's
it's available,
available.
the better. All right, so we'll plan Monday, the 17th here for an informational session. Let's get that out to finance ASAP so that they can hopefully have some people that are available to attend. Also, it needs to go out to the town departments so that anybody who is available from, as a department head who would, be potentially able to answer questions can be there, and then, we'll be there as well. Donna, if you can post a meeting for that day, just in case, so that we can have
Yeah.
discussion if need be. And then
We'll have that informational letter.
ideally, we'll have that informational
Yeah,
letter. I'm
go for
going
that first.
to work on that
Yeah.
so that we can push that back over to finance in time for them to take a look at it on Tuesday and hopefully approve it.
But before that, if we've got it, we can have our name on it.
Yep. Yeah, oh, well, worst case scenario,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We can always push something out on
Yeah.
our own. But it would be better if it came
Yeah.
from both of us.
Just remember, they're not meeting till next Tuesday.
I-
So if you push it out even now, and he wants to bring it back to the FinCom, they're not meeting to Tuesday, which is following Monday.
Which is after that.
Yeah, I realise that. That's why I said we could put our name on it, just for
We're
something
not
to
talking
speak
about
about.
next Monday though, right? We're
Yes.
talking about,
We're talking about Monday, the 17th.
So
I
we
might
can't-
have to
we can't just
execute
the-
the Zoom option.
Yeah.
Well,
we
we-
can't just the election.
Zoom is Zoom, right? Like we all do the best that we can,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
It's only going to be informational.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
If we can't
but you
make it,
said
can't
post
make
a
it.
meeting, so I was just making
Yeah.
post a
sure.
Well,
meeting
if there's
just
two of
so,
us, it's
I
less
mean,
than-
Okay.
even if there's two
Okay,
of us, right?
okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, it's just,
Yeah, I don't anticipate having anything that we're actually, any business that we have to
Mm.
handle at that meeting. It's
all right.
just to have it posted so that there's no open meeting law violations, so that.
And if
we
anybody
have
does
discussion.
attend and ask questions, we can answer them.
And
Right.
two people are quorum, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
trust you guys.
Exactly, yeah. So, all right.
What time?
What time do you want to do that? 7?
I don't
6?
mind. I don't mind.
Any,
Make it whatever accommodates you guys best, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be stretched though.
I don't think it's going to be a long meeting.
I don't think so.
No, just an hour, I think. Keep it at
And
7.
are we thinking the same
I
format?
would probably keep it 7, yeah.
Are we thinking the same format we've done for informational sessions in the past, or do you have a different format in mind?
I was thinking about, going through the reductions and the what it means to everybody, the override.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we've got any departments available, they can speak up for their departments.
Yep.
That would be my,
Yep.
but also make it more available for people to ask questions.
Right.
Once we've given them any information. Couple of slides on, like I said, based on the letter, which I'm assuming you're gonna put in some good information.
Yep. Yep. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for sticking it out with us.
Yeah, thanks.
I know.
Summer, I got like cold feet up there. Unusual.
You had a bigger crowd than usual.
RBI.
Hmm.
Anyway, Scott lost the names and everything, so he's a little bit frustrated, so I'm leaving.
Okay.
Good call.
Thank you.
Night.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it would be nice to have a some kind of brief summary of, what is an override, why do we need it, what the numbers look like presently,
How's it
and
gonna-
what that
how's it
means
gonna
to our
affect you?
departments.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what does the override mean for you personally, right? Like, what's the increase, and what's the cost per thousand and average single-family home cost, right? So, I think that's all all good information.
We're doing that as a hybrid?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I might be hybrid if I can make it.
yeah.
Like I say, if you can't, and then you can watch it.
I feel bad, it's just.
It's been a long haul,
This has been a,
hasn't it?
Well, and it's not like it's 20 minutes down the road for me to go to work. It's an hour and a half each
Yeah,
way.
This has been a long process.
it has. Yeah. So, yeah, so I'd like to see that happen for our informational session on Monday. We also need to get the word out that informational session is happening. So if we can put it on the town signs, Facebook pages,
Share it with the neighbours.
maybe let Cindy Love know, 'cause she'll get that information anyways as a department head, but it would.
Let
Robin.
Robin?
yes, let Robin know.
Oh, she'll
Yeah.
share it. If we put it on the Facebook,
She'll share it, yeah. And then I'll get working on that informational thing, and hopefully we can get that out sooner rather than later. So, okay. So the last item that we need to handle is to close now the town meeting warrant. So we have voted on all of the articles. We have placed them appropriately. We have approved, given our approval of each of the articles. Our recommendation is what, I guess the word I was looking for, sorry. And now we need to vote to close the warrant. And this would be contingent on legal approving, and any minor administrative corrections that don't affect meaning, potentially needing to take place if there's a spelling error or a number.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then can I get a motion to go ahead and sign the warrant?
I will make a motion to go ahead and sign the warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I assume Donna will let us know when that is available to sign, probably tomorrow, I'm guessing. So if we can be available to go up and sign that at some point tomorrow, so that it can get posted on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All
that
right.
stamp?
We only need 2 signatures, Kirk,
Yeah.
so as long as we get 2, we're
Yeah,
good.
don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not planning on killing myself.
Okay, we have no old business under correspondence. I have a few things. We had already thanked the garden club while they were here, one member was here earlier today, but the comment was left that the garden club did fill the window boxes this year at the town hall, which saved the town $400. That's something that we usually spend some money on, so we have that. And then
Appreciate that.
I have a couple of other things. I had a resident who was very, very pleased with our police department and the interaction that she had with some of the officers related to a vehicle that was reported stolen and later located by the officers. So a very nice job by the police department here, and one very pleased resident with dealing with them.
Thank you.
And then I have a couple of grants that were awarded. So I have a grant coming from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security Department of Fire Services. Dear Chief Pingatori, I am pleased to inform you that the town of Paxton has been awarded $4,700 for the Student Awareness of Fire Education Program, the SAFE program, and $2,200 for the Senior SAFE program in FY24. And firefighter Megan Stevens is our SAFE program coordinator on the fire department, and she was the one who put in
wrote the grant.
for these grants and had them awarded. So thank you to Megan. That's a big deal. This helps us to provide education to our children in town as well as the seniors, and provide them with some little educational knickknacks as well that help them to remember some of the important things of fire safety. So we really appreciate that. And then there's a second one, Dear Chief Pingatori, this is from the Office of the Governor, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Congratulations, we are pleased to inform you that the town of Paxton, I'm sorry, ignore me, that was the same one. I knew there was a second one, though. So, good morning. I am pleased to announce that the Paxton Fire Department was awarded $6,900 from the Commonwealth for fire safety education. Oh, it's the same. It's all the same. That's just the total number.
We
So
got
sorry. So it's, anyways, 2 grants. They amount to $6,900 together.
Fantastic.
And that was courtesy of Megan and the fire department in securing those grants. So thank you. Okay, that's that. Town administrators report.
I'm gonna stay on the high level for this, as it's 9:30. Biggest plug, Paxton Days and Summer Jam. So Kathy and Donna and many others have worked very hard to put this year's event together. It should be fantastic. June 15th, it's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. There is a variety of food trucks that will be available. 7 Saws will be present for a period of time. There'll be the summer concert series. The police department is doing their rodeo, bike rodeo at 10 o'clock, 10 to 12 down at the Paxton Center School parking lot. I believe it's also the run, what's it called?
Solstice.
5K.
Solstice.
Thank you. The 5K run that Kathy also holds will be that same evening, and I think that's everything in one event, right? Did I miss any? So tons of stuff going on, so if folks are around, they should definitely come down and check it out. Other things, I do touch here on the FY25 finance budget, so I'm just gonna stay really high on this. So based on where we should be on June 3rd, about 90.38% is what we're looking at. Everything, for the most part, looked pretty good.
FY24.
Huh?
I thought you said FY25.
Oh, no, I said it, didn't I say 24? I thought I said 24.
No, you said
It's-
25.
I said 25.
Well, 24, 25, 26, they're rolling at this point. Anything that was outside of range, I did target in this report just to kind of make those pieces stand out. For the most part, everything's going pretty well. Things we're most concerned about, right? Legal is over and will continue to keep rolling over at this point. Elections, we should be in decent shape. Lori did have some funds left over, so we should be able to absorb the majority, not all, but the majority of the cost for the special town election within what she already had there. As we may recall, vocational assessments will get 25,000 and some change that will be left over in that account line. And our employee benefits, our health insurance is likely to end the year with a little bit left in it. Other things, internal transfers, so I linked in the report, the accountant's page with all the internal transfers. As of May 29th, we did 26 this year. FY25 budget, I think we've already covered quite a bit of that this evening. So we have all the details there for the special town election, special town meeting. I did go down to the Council on Aging for their cafe again last week and spoke to the seniors there again, answered any questions they may have, and provided them all the details. And as far as the special town election goes, so I had written this report, I believe, Thursday morning. And on Thursday morning, we had, I bet I didn't write my number there, around 590 early voting applications polled, about 70 received. At this point, as of this afternoon, right before coming, we had 601 early voting applications that we sent. 186 have already been accepted, meaning they did everything they were supposed to return them. 11 were rejected, so they still have time to try again. And absentee voters, we sent 8 and we've received 7 back and have accepted those. So they're coming in a little bit more fast and furious than we saw them last time. Last time we got about 50% back of what we sent out. Right now, we're already looking at just about 33%, right? So we'll keep watching those figures. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No, but can I bring something up from earlier?
Sure.
When Brian was here from Cemetery Commission,
Yep.
you mentioned about those trees, 4 trees being there. I looked at the ARPA report, and there's 3,444 available as of June 6th for tree removal and trimming. I don't know if it's spoken for, but can you?
Not yet.
Well, I think we already worked with Kirk. Kirk has it in his mind that's part of his merged-in budget, so he can utilize those funds as he needs.
That's why I wrote that.
So can we look at that then?
Yeah, I've
Hey.
already marked it to reach out to him. If you could actually send me his I don't think I have his contact information. I'll reach out to him and see
Okay.
what we
Brian's,
can do.
yeah.
I'll work with him and Travis, and we'll figure something out.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Just so they know that we are looking at it. Thank you.
Yeah, I highlighted and put a note on my thing, so.
Good.
On it. Tree ward, ready to go.
Great. All right, so with that, we have no more public here because they are sick of listening to us.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I don't think we have anything else to do we? That's it, right? That's it? All right,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 You're adjourned.